You sound good?
I always sound good.
Okay, start it off.
Ba-dum-bum.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back
Welcome.
to episode 14. Even though I think this is technically episode 15.
Oh, yeah?
Apparently, we filmed an episode last week, which would have been episode 14.
Allegedly.
And for some reason, it's never been uploaded to YouTube. Was this my fault?
No, I'll take fault for that.
For once, it was her fault. It was a good
off day.
Yeah, I mean, you were just a little sleepy.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great episode. I was talking about a lot of cool concepts, and I'm kind of sad that they were lost forever.
We'll never talk about them ever again.
Well, okay, let's repeat the entire episode from last week from memory.
Totally.
No. I'll still keep the episode somewhere. Maybe I'll do something, upload it on my own YouTube or something.
Great.
I don't know. I mean, parts of it. There was good rants in there.
Yeah, you could do little clips of it.
Plus, it's like, I'm starting off every episode of these now with my current TikTok drama. And of course, there is mini. And the last episode that we officially uploaded, do you remember? It was like
just got 100,000.
Not even.
Yeah.
We were just talking about almost getting 100,000.
The last one.
Right? Because that was a little while ago.
Yeah.
And then last episode, which hasn't been uploaded.
Yes.
We talked about how I finally hit 100,000.
Yeah.
Congrats to me. I'm famous. And now I just hit 170,000.
That's insane.
So
in a week,
pretty
70,000 people.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's so dope.
So I'm closer to 200,000 now. Mm-hmm. So it's been quite a change since the last official episode.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've missed a lot, even though I probably talked about a bunch of it. Mm-hmm. And we'll never know.
You have so much more responsibility now.
Yeah, that's kind of where we left off with the last episode.
Yeah.
Was the last one we uploaded was all the it's like Spider-Man, I have a lot of responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. And I'm noticing my power more and more.
Yeah.
Today, yet again, just more, the
know.
power grows. I got to not let it get to my head, but it is quite the it's crazy. Mm-hmm. We can get
we were at the beach.
Yeah.
And we were walking to a beach bar.
Allegedly, we're at the beach. Coronavirus. We're on quarantine. We did not go to the beach last week and this week.
Yeah.
And then go to a house party the day after the beach. We're definitely social distancing.
Totally. Our state's open.
Yeah,
so.
It's not against. We were on lockdown for 2 months.
Yes.
And we did the thing.
And we took it seriously.
But Donald J. Trump only paid me for 1 month, and I gave him 1 month free. Mm-hmm. And until I get another coronavirus payment in the mail, my state's open and I'm going to party. Okay? But yes, we went to the beach.
But yes, and so you were in front of us and us girls were behind you, and you were walking, and then these girls passed us, and the one turns around, looks at you, and goes to her friend and be like, "Oh my God, do you know who that is?"
Is that for real? I never heard that.
Yeah. And then they walked by as we kept walking, so I couldn't hear if she said your name or whatever, but I knew
I'm
in
sure.
that moment.
I'm sure it happens. It's
she was
bound
on
to happen.
TikTok, and she knew you from there.
Especially there was a lot of younger people there.
Yeah.
It's spring break time. Well, I guess now it's technically not spring
Summer.
break, but there was a big YouTuber who was there.
Yeah.
The Nelk Boys. If you guys know Nelk Boys from YouTube, they have it's a kind of a long story, but we didn't know that at the time. So we were walking by. You heard those girls say that. Mm-hmm. And then we were hanging out with some other friends. And apparently there was a lot of drama. There was this big crowd that
Oh, that was before. This was when we were going to the first beach bar. Or going up to the hotel.
That's right. It was early in the day.
Yeah.
But later, because you had told me that. And then later during the day, when I realized the Nelk Boys were there, I was like, oh, that makes sense why there's all these younger people here. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't doubt it. They're probably heavy on social media. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, well, one, we hung out with a bunch of different friends, and we had a bunch of friends who had hotels down there. We were kind of bouncing between two different groups. Mm-hmm. And one guy got a little drunk and a little feisty, and he did not like that these famous YouTubers were taking over our beach. So he went up and caused a whole controversy with them and started yelling at them like an angry Karen, being like, "Get off my lawn! You get off my beach, you crazy kids! We don't want you here." He didn't sound country because not at all, but he was not happy about them being here. And we're not close friends, I know him as an acquaintance, and I didn't know what to do. I was just standing in the background like, is he joking?
I
or
thought
is
it
he...
was hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny at first, but then he just kept going.
I know. Then it went on for like
all
20 minutes.
All these high school kids are looking at it. It's like a group of like, I don't know, maybe they're college kids. You can't even tell anymore when you're my age. It's
the one
like,
girl I started talking to was 16. So
yeah, okay. I wouldn't doubt it. So I'm sitting here like, this guy's about to get jumped by 400 18-year-olds. Like, bro, calm down. It's not that serious. It's a public beach. I mean, no offense to you. I mean, shout out to you too. But yeah, so at a certain point, I thought he was just kidding. And then I was like, and then it didn't stop. And even the kids started laughing. And then at a certain point, he just kept going. And I was like, oh, he's not kidding. And nobody was doing anything about it. And he's not, I'm not a close enough friend to be like, go and pull him off.
Yeah.
But I was like, I got to go get involved here because somebody's got to shut this down. And I'm like, I walk into this whole group of these swarming fans of the Nelk Boys who have 4.8 million. And I didn't know this at the time. I just knew there was a famous YouTuber down there. And they're all looking at me and I'm like, hey guys, what's up? Sorry about him. What's your YouTube? I'm going to subscribe. And I just went the whole, like, let's be friends, you know, like don't shit on these kids. They're just having a fun time. And they just looked at me and a bunch of them were staring at me like they knew who I was. And it was like, do you guys know who I am? Like, that's kind of, and they were like, oh, we're following the Nelk Boys too. And I was like, oh, Nelk Boys, I think I already follow you on YouTube because I've heard of them.
Yeah.
And they're big. And then I checked and it was like 4.8 million followers or something. But I kind of diffused the situation and they kind of, but the looks I was getting was like, because they're in that age group who are heavy on TikTok. I hope this is an
episode.
Dude,
of their thing or whatever. I got to follow because they had their cameras and stuff.
And the Nelk Boys are on TikTok too.
Yeah.
So, and of course they have a bigger audience than me, but they're definitely not as known as me on the platform. They're probably much more known in general because of YouTube, but on the platform, people know who I am. Yeah. And I leave a mark. So just the way people are looking at me, it's hard to tell and I'm wearing a hat and stuff and I don't usually wear a hat in my video. So it's like, they're kind of looking like, is that, wait, I don't know. And I don't know. It's starting to be like these weird vibes because I have this assumption of like, if I see young people, they probably are like
50-50 chance.
I know who you are or I've seen you before. And it's either going to be, and it's not like a cocky thing or anything. It's like a safety thing because half the people are going to hate me, half the people are going to love me. And I just have to be super aware of my surroundings. But I think I made a good impression. And then they were looking at me and they were happy that I came in and kind of diffused it. And they were filming with all these cameras. And I'm like, wouldn't that be funny if they end up putting up this YouTube video of this angry Karen guy and the guy that comes in and is like, makes it all cool is like me. And they're like, is that Nick from TikTok? Yes, that was me. You know, as much as I'm an asshole on TikTok and I'm a fun guy, but people have their opinions. But in real life, I'm not a type of dude that's like, fuck you guy. It's like, I want to make everybody have fun. And
you're very friendly.
Yeah. So I think it was, I hope I end up on their channel and somebody like spots me out in the background because I'm just standing in the back the whole time while they're filming our friend, yelling at them. And I'm just standing back there laughing like, is anybody going to do anything? I guess I am, as usual.
Yeah.
And then I pull him off and I was like, bro, you realize that guy is a big YouTuber. I don't give a shit. I'm like, okay, but do you realize that they're filming you from 4 different angles right now? I don't give a shit. And I was like, yeah, but do you realize they have 4.8 million followers? And he's like, I don't give a shit. He's still, because he's, drunk or whatever. But everybody else is like, bro, you're going to end up looking embarrassing as shit on their YouTube channel. And now that I found him on TikTok, I'm like, I hope they like post a little short video on TikTok.
I want to see that.
That'd just be so funny if somebody puts it together. Because I swear some of those kids knew who I was. They were just looking at me like, it's hard to describe, but you see different vibes. I know how it was before and how it is now, and it's just a different vibe. But and you had told me that like those girls were like, do you know who that is?
Yeah.
And if you're in that age group, I was like, there's a good chance you know who I am if you're on TikTok.
Like I knew it was gonna happen today, but it happened like so soon into it.
Yeah. That is funny.
Good. Yeah. But there were so many people out.
Yeah.
So many people.
So what do you think about that with the coronavirus thing? Because also I posted some videos on TikTok from last week when we were at the beach. And, I make a joke like we don't get, the caption was like when the government tells you to self quarantine and social distance, and then we're just on the beach saying we don't care, we don't care. Or no, it was a different. It was care. I'm here to tell you right now, I don't care. We don't care. Yeah, whatever it was. Like that, the point was that was the joke, and my comments got filled. I mean, I'm always just trolling people anyway, so this was just another troll, and people were pissed. Even my own audience was like, "Bro, I usually really like your jokes, but this was not it. This was not cool, bro." But then other people started doing duets of me to their audience, being like, "Look at this asshole thinking he's above the quarantine, and like this is survival or Darwin. What is it? Not Darwinism, but natural selection." Yeah. And their comments got flooded with people standing up for me, being like, "Actually, bro, I mean, it's kind of not that serious. And he's funny. Whatever you say, he's pretty funny." But then my own comments were like, "Bro, not cool." It was just really weird, but whatever. I'm used to the hate either way. Yeah. But it was half a joke, but also we don't have quarantine here anymore. Yeah. And we were inside for 2 months. Yes. And I don't know a single person who's gotten...
And when we're at the beaches and on the beach, the towels and everything
There's a lot of things going on.
It's like...
And it was a little test. We went to the beach, but we had other friends who came to meet us. So it was our first time kind of meeting people outside of quarantine, especially in a public place. Mm-hmm. That was a week and a half ago. Yeah. Not a single one of them has gotten sick, has told us anything. Yeah. We haven't gotten sick, and we went another week, and we certainly weren't being paranoid about it. Yeah. We weren't wearing masks. And, half the people right now who aren't in Florida or at the beach are probably like, "You assholes," like just hearing us say this. But it's not like we're not one of these like rubbing it in your face or like pretending like this isn't a real thing. It's just, it is at a certain point a little over exaggerated if nobody knows anybody. I don't even know a person who knows a person who's been sick. Yeah. And I know they exist. I'm not one of these conspiracy theorists thinking like this is nothing and it's all lies. Of course, there's people who are sick in New York City. Yeah. Or I've heard people like famous podcasters who know somebody who has a horror story. Yeah. Sure, there are people who are sick, but it is not the Black Plague. Yeah. It's not. And everybody in my comments was saying like, "Yeah, you're acting like you don't get sick, but it takes 2 weeks to," or I was like, I waited 4 days because that's like when the symptoms are supposed to start. And I posted another video being like mocking, "Guys, I'm still not sick. What's going on here?" And we posted a video pretending to be like, "Guys, I don't know what you're so serious about.
Gonna visit grandma."
Just, keep trolling. Just keep trolling. And I waited the 4 days, which is the usual onset of symptoms. And I said, "Guys, I'm still not sick." And I posted a tweet about it. And I still got flooded with comments being like, "How dare you, bro? It takes 2 weeks before you get sick. You're probably going to die."
That's what I heard.
It can take up to 2 weeks. Yeah. And that's the contagious period and the incubation period. But the symptoms for most people who display symptoms is 4 to 5 days. That's the medium day.
So I've been social distancing kind of in the sense with my mom, like not really hugging her and stuff, but we kind of broke that not too long ago.
And you're in her house. I mean, it's gonna spread if it was as serious as they're making it sound. Yeah. 6 feet away and wear a face mask.
I was eating jerky and I gave her she wanted some, and so I just gave her my jerky stick, and she
coronavirus.
I had a dream last night that I killed my mother because of that.
Well,
it freaked me the fuck out.
The thing is, it can happen
just because a bite of a sausage, jerky.
It could happen.
Oh my gosh.
And I understand that, but I'm not on the beach, on the beach partying and then going to the nursing home and shaking hands. I'm going home. The only people I'm interacting with are other people on the beach. Yeah. If you're an old person or a sick person or somebody with an immune deficiency, you should not be on the beach. It's kind of your responsibility to keep yourself isolated. Yeah. I'm also not going up coughing on it. But I get it. I understand it's a very politically torn thing. But we win again another week, and then we win again another day, and we're still, I don't know anybody who's sick. Yeah. Nobody we interacted with. How serious do you expect people to take? And they're saying we're going to stay indoors till fall or till there's a vaccine.
Oh gosh.
That's not going to happen. Yeah. I am not taking it that seriously. I'm just not. You have to at least see something more than a statistic reported on.
I'll wear my masks though when I go out to public places.
I will too now, so people don't recognize me.
And everything, yeah.
So because I'm so famous, and people are just going to be like, "Do you know who that is?" So now
they probably still recognize you because you had a hat and sunglasses on.
Yeah. I don't know.
You're just that tall, and you have a
Well, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell from videos versus real life. People don't ever understand how tall I am until they see me in real life. Even on Weave, when I was very famous on Weave, I was the top creator on Weave. Famous. I mean, it was a small app, but everybody knew me on that app. And then we met up in Denver for the like WeaveCon, where everybody came and met up. And they were like, holy shit, you're way taller than I thought. Even though they knew I was really tall. Yeah. You just don't really, you can't tell from video what people really look like.
You have put on videos. Of
True. Like, I mean, they know I'm tall, but it's still you're not used to seeing me. I just, it's hard to take the thing too serious. And when we first started, go back to our earlier episodes, I was telling you that I was taking it very seriously. And I was like, we need to prepare. And I know this is coming because I'm listening to the experts and all of that. But the experts have been changing their mind left and right too. Yeah. It's not airborne. It is airborne. Don't wear face masks. Do wear face masks. All that. It's like at a certain point, I just have to see somebody who's gotten sick before I'm like, okay, now it's serious. You know?
And two, our immune systems are extremely healthy. Yeah. That doesn't mean we can't get it
and pass it on. And that's the thing. But I'm careful. I'm not hanging out with my parents. Yeah. I'm not going to visit my you are. Your mom is in the age group.
Yeah, I know.
You know, at risk group, but she seems pretty healthy too. But and she's still young for that age group too.
And two, I've told her too, like, we can stay distanced and do these like workouts and stuff.
But stay tuned till next week's episode and see if we're sick and hospitalized or if your mom is dead. R.I.P. Mom. But no, it's just, guys, I think at a certain point and the thing is, you can't wait till the vaccine anyways, and that's not going to come for a long time. And that's not a cure. Everybody still is going to get the virus at some point. Our goal was to flatten the curve and not overwhelm the hospitals. And many hospitals are reporting that they are completely empty. Yeah. That they're not overstaffed. In certain areas, New York City, I'm sure they're having problems, but that's a different kind of city where there's millions of people all doing public transport together. Yeah. Down here, I see nothing. And they're saying that vitamin D deficiency is a link to people who are really getting hit hard with this. And vitamin D in general boosts your immune system. So being out in open air in the hot weather, spread apart in the sun while you're healthy, I'm not buying it. Yeah. And our state's opened up and I'm not seeing anything to be super concerned about. Yeah. I still wash my hands. Yes. And I don't cough on old people.
So knowing that it's coming back in the fall too, of course it'll probably hit hard down here, but like not as hard too, because it's always still like sunny and warm here.
Yeah. I feel like they're saying that it's worse in colder environments versus hot environments.
Like, up north, that's going to suck even more if you've been inside this entire time.
That's where the places are getting hit hardest anyways. It's like Michigan, New York City, New Jersey. And I don't think it's a coincidence that that's northern climates that are already getting less sunlight. Yeah. And they're staying indoors and it's colder. And they haven't been outside this whole year because it's been winter. Yeah. So and that's worse for your immune system. And you're probably eating shit food and drinking more because what else are you going to do? Yeah. So it's probably hitting you twice as hard. I just, but it's such a political debate right now, and it's so weird that both sides are falling down just on political lines, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, that you think, and it's like a virus doesn't care what your politics are. And I'm not judging it based on my politics. I'm just judging it based on my eyes, and at a certain point, I'm down to get it. Yeah. I give it to me. Let me get it. Let me build the antibodies. Yeah. Let me get over it. It's going to happen. It's not going away. It's a virus that's here to stay. Yeah. And I'm like, I understand. I could be a vector point. I will stay. I go to the beach. I stay home. I work from home. I'm not out there doing things. I barely even go to the store. Yeah. I don't think I'm the one who's spreading the virus everywhere, but people are half of them are just jealous that I'm posting on the beach while they haven't left their house in probably 6 months or longer.
I could not. Yeah. I would move, but then again, you can't move.
No, I mean you can, but
I wouldn't. I guess they'd let you over state lines.
Stressful this time. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see. There's a bit of hubris. If I'm sitting here posting content, rubbing it in, like haha, and then if I do get hit, people are like, it's going to be sweet irony if Nick dies of coronavirus. And I even left a comment like, even I would appreciate the irony. Yeah. I would, I'm not thinking I'm immune to it, but.
So my mom's boyfriend transports really nice cars. across country and stuff. And he's been going up to Maine a lot. And Maine, I guess, is like super crazy
Strict
where you
about
have
it.
to,
Yeah.
masks everywhere. Any place that you go into, you have to wear a mask. And I think businesses and everything close very early too.
Yeah.
So it's been really tough.
See,
for him
that
to,
type of stuff. If this is something that is spreading
Work.
just so easily through the air, just close contact, the shit that I'm seeing is just not effective to stop that. I understand masks to a certain point stop particles from coming out. That's one thing. But when you're saying like, oh, we're going to have people come into the grocery store and that's fine, but if we close at 9 p.m., somehow that's going to stop the virus. Like the virus can spread at fucking 3 p.m.
Yeah.
What are we talking about
I think
here?
it's to like help the workers too.
No,
so
it's a
they're
bunch of
limit
fake.
exposure-
It's a bunch
exposure.
of pretending we're doing something to make people feel better.
Yeah.
That's not actually accomplishing things. And I could give some great examples about here too, but we have to take a commercial break and maybe we'll get back into this topic. Right after this break.
A commercial break?
Yeah, get the commercial ready and we'll be right back. So speaking of our first commercial break, you know how we've been making jokes this whole podcast, 13 episodes about how we have no sponsors, but we're taking commercial breaks. Well, we have officially gotten our first quality time sponsorship.
Yes.
Erin, you want to let them know who is our sponsor today?
Yes, it's Chunky Cookies. Okay, I'm going to have to get her Instagram. I think it was Chunky Cookies _Tampa or something.
Erin,
like that.
did you already mess up the first ad read of our sponsor?
I know. I was
you
so
had
excited
one
for it,
job
too.
because I didn't even know what the sponsorship was. But here's all I know is
They're absolutely delicious.
we were sponsored by a new startup cookie company, and you want to know how much we got paid? This tray of cookies.
There were more.
Free cookies. As you can tell, the tray is not full, and some of these cookies look half eaten because, let's be honest,
We couldn't help
we're in
ourselves.
quarantine.
Yeah.
And I like some cookies.
I know.
I definitely went to town on that peanut butter. What was it called? The
Yeah, PBAF.
PBAF. It was. It had like
little
Reese's
Reese's.
Pieces in it. It had a
Yeah.
Reese's peanut butter cup. It even was like a peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
And these are like big mound cookies.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good.
This is like
Oh, it's
the
good.
size of your hand.
Yeah, it's about the size of what your. I want to make
Five cookies.
I want to make a fat joke, but I think that even the cookie is smaller than most people will be when they eat all these cookies. The point is, the cookies are delicious.
Yes.
I felt kind of bad eating them all because I've been trying to diet lately, and then she shows up with this delicious tray
They're
of.
so freaking good.
Oh my God, they are so good. That's why I
Yes.
couldn't wait. And we were like, we're going to eat these on air. And I was like, no,
We will
I'm going
have
to
her
eat
link
them.
before or below.
Yeah, we'll put a link in there.
Yeah.
But well,
Her
now
Instagram.
now I got to do work. But
Yeah, we'll
okay,
put her
I'm down for it.
Instagram.
Sure.
Not in the video.
Yeah.
Just in the
But she is a friend of Erin's, and she is
Yes.
starting up a cookie company. And she
Yes.
was like, "Can I be your first sponsor?" And I was like,
Hell yeah.
"Cookies? yeah, you could do that."
Let's go pay you in cookies.
And they
Yes.
really are delicious. So guys, support our friend's cookie startup
They
and go
are.
to her Instagram, which we will link in the YouTube description below.
Yes.
And go purchase some cookies from her. It's in the
Yeah.
Tampa area because she's doing delivery,
Yes, or pickup.
especially for coronavirus. So it's very efficient.
Yeah.
Out of state orders, I guess, are a no go right now.
Yeah.
Unless you just want some really stale cookies sent your way. But definitely,
Tampa area.
definitely we'll get her to expand because, I mean, this podcast is blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
So soon she's going to have so many orders. She's going to have to just start buying a whole warehouse
Yeah.
and a bakery.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Support you guys.
I'm definitely down to support too. I just have to be very, I got to hold myself back from the cookies. Mm-hmm. I can't eat so many cookies. We went out when we were drinking at the house party. It was a dope house party, by the way. Thanks guys for inviting us. It was
Yeah.
our friends. A
lot of fun.
Again, shouldn't probably throw all these names out because who knows if they want to be on here. Well, they do. They've talked about wanting to be on the podcast, but either way, what's the point of name dropping? But we got invited to this awesome house party on the bay. It was like
Yes.
it's like an Airbnb mansion, not a mansion, but it was a big house.
Yeah, giant.
Has a pool, had a dock, has paddle boards, has pool
Kayaks,
table,
yeah.
kayaks, all of the. It was nice. Bunch of girls
Hot
there
tub,
because,
yeah.
of course, the person who invited us, of course, is surrounded by all the chicks. And we go to the house party and we're I had been dieting the whole week. I was doing so good. And then we got so drunk at the beach and we ate a bunch of crap food.
Yeah.
And then we go to the house party. And of course, they got all the snacks and all the foods. So I'm getting drunk again and eating everything. And then we went home and we ordered, we got Checkers on the way home, the triple burger plus this. But then we went to another party and they had snacks. And then we come home and I ate like the whole cookie. And these are like giant ass cookies. And I just woke up hating myself. And then I ate another one today, actually. So I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to eat one of these on the podcast. But trust me, they were delicious.
Yes, absolutely.
So I have to try to.
I'll have her menu too on my page. I'll post it on my page as well.
On your Instagram? Okay. Follow Erin on Instagram too. At Aaronaceous_21. Look at me. I'm so good. I'm so good at the plugs too. Yeah, so that's exciting. We got our first sponsorship. This podcast is really blowing up.
It
and we
is.
also have
700.
We crossed our 700th YouTube subscriber, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it really does because we started and we thought we were going to do like hundreds of episodes before we even got any ball rolling.
I thought we were always going to be at just like 110, like our friends, just like...
Which I was down for. I mean, I was just doing it for fun, and I'm still doing it for fun. But it happened to coincide with me starting on TikTok, and we're driving some traffic now. And the thing is, I haven't even promoted it at all. I mean, I talk about it in my live streams. Most of that is like not even trying.
So I think I heard in your live stream, sorry to cut you off, but that someone was saying, like talking about our podcast and about like my voice.
Oh, yeah. Somebody said that we're like Howard Stern and Robin. If you know Howard Stern show.
I know.
Howard Stern is a famous radio show host.
Yeah.
He's kind of like an early podcaster, but it wasn't podcast. It was terrestrial radio. Very famous, but he's known for being very provocative and saying all kinds of things. And that's me. Yeah. But Robin is like his sidekick. And she's like a very just calming voice. She's like a woman. I think she's black. I mean, I know she's black. I don't know why I'm like, I think she's black, but I'm just, Erin doesn't know.
Yeah.
And she is just like kind of the voice of reason and groundedness, but not judgmental. And I don't know, she has a good radio voice. Robin does. And and so somebody said that and I was like, yes, that's spot on. Because when I listen back to our podcast, I kind of always think of that is like, Erin is like the Robin of the Howard Stern because I'm such like the provocative shit talker.
That's cool.
And then you do have like a really good radio voice. It's just we have a relationship, unlike Howard and Robin. You know, they're just like
I have
partners.
A voice for radio?
Yeah, just not a face for it. You have a face for Pornhub though.
Oh, for sure.
So it's perfect. Yeah, so somebody did say that, and I was like, that's spot on, because I literally was thinking that several times when I would watch our podcast back.
Awesome.
Like, yeah, Erin could do this. She's got that good sidekick vibe going on.
Yeah.
She could never be the main star like me, but...
No, and I don't want that responsibility.
I know. If only you could take over the editing, that'd be awesome. But no, I'll do it.
You don't want me to do that, because I've already asked a bunch if you'd let me help you.
If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself.
I totally 100% agree.
That's why I leave you to do the dishes.
And the cooking.
Yes. I'll do the podcasting. You do the dishes and the cooking. Wow, this is making me sound even more misogynist. Get in the kitchen. Do the woman's work. But it's a good dynamic for us because this is what I'm good at. And if there's one thing I'm not good at, it's doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you are good at doing that, but not cooking.
I don't like it.
Just kidding. You are good at cooking.
I don't have passion for that.
I don't have passion to do it.
Sure you do.
No, I don't.
You're so good at it. You just over there humming and smiling and looking out the window. And
well, yeah, definitely looking out the window.
You're great at it. I admire you from afar. Just like, yeah.
Here's another dish.
Here you go, Erin.
So I'm like already done turning off the water. Oh, here's 5 more.
I've been stacking all of these in my office for all day of snacking. Here you go. Here's one more. No, but it is true because it takes a lot of time to do this stuff, and it's good to have a partner.
For sure.
Yeah. So you're my little Robin that I also bang. It's a good partnership. Stay tuned for that episode.
So, in news today, what happened?
About
the big controversy with the police officer.
Oh, about me or about in real news?
So with the police
yeah,
officer?
I thought you were still talking about like TikTok drama because there's a lot of that. I don't think it was today. Coronavirus. It was yesterday, I think.
Okay.
His name was George Floyd. Which I was doing a live stream last night. And again, a lot of people were asking me like, what do you think about George Floyd? And I was literally like, who is George Floyd? I don't know who that is. And people were probably like, how dare you? I didn't have time to really look into it. I had heard about the video, but I didn't know his name. Now I know his name.
Yeah. I saw it more this morning.
Yeah. Cause I had really,
well, that video you showed me,
I saw the headline yesterday and I just kind of already put the pieces together. Cause you know the story when you see the headline and you see the picture of a cop kneeling on this guy's neck. Everybody knows the story right now, I'm sure, especially by the time this goes up, of, a police officer was arresting a black man in Minneapolis, and his name's George Floyd. And all I had heard was he was being arrested for fraud it turns out it was forgery, just a $20 bill that was like fake.
Oh my gosh.
Which, look, whatever. The cops have to arrest people and I understand that, but it's a nonviolent crime. Yeah. A lot of these situations, I do have a lot of opinions on this. And a lot of these situations is, the guy is an armed robbery suspect, in other situations where the Black Lives Matter movement gets all up in arms and says like, how dare you? And it's always a tragedy when somebody dies, especially before they're proven guilty. I'm totally on that side. But there is a big difference of a cop who is on edge because he knows this guy is a violent criminal who had a gun and just committed an armed robbery versus somebody who was forging a $20 bill. That's not a violent criminal. Yeah. Okay. You don't need to be that fucking serious about it. And I didn't know the backstory. I only saw the headline and I hadn't even watched the video yet, but I already saw the picture and I was thinking like, that's fucked up. That was my gut instinct is that's fucked up. But I watched the video today. Minutes. I watched the video and it was heartbreaking. Fucking heartbreaking, man. That's so, and the thing is people were saying that he was actually resisting arrest. And again, that's where my thought process is. I want to hear all the sides because a lot of people freak out just because they want to make a political narrative out of it and say it's a white cop against a black guy. And there is that to talk about for sure. But a lot of times you dig in and you're like, oh, he was fighting the cops. He was trying to grab his gun or whatever. I don't want to make any judgments until I see it. And I saw the video and I saw other angles of the video. I watched on YouTube. They have a restaurant owner released security camera footage from like the corner of the store where the cops arrest. He didn't fight those cops. He didn't do anything. He was obviously in his car not wanting to be arrested, but they got him out, got him in handcuffs, brought him to the street, and then somehow took him all the way across the crosswalk to their police car. Literally, he's complying the whole time in handcuffs. And I don't even see where it went wrong at that point. And the only other video you see is him on the ground.
So that video didn't show them putting him on the ground?
No. Not at all. They saw him. It's like a street, like there's a street this way and there's a street this way. And they're over, the security camera is filming them over here, arresting him, getting his passengers out of the car, arresting him, bringing him over here up against this wall, sitting him down, standing him up. He's already in handcuffs. The camera's filming him. They walk across the street with him through the crosswalk to other cop cars that are up the street. And that's all the security camera shows. And they had said in a police report, like he was fighting and resisting arrest. He was not resisting shit. Maybe they took him up the street to put him in the car and he was like, what the fuck? Come on, let me go. Either fucking way, he's in handcuffs. He's not, what are we talking about here?
Where's he gonna go?
And I don't know how it escalates from that to him being on the ground underneath a car, and the guy kneels on his neck. And literally the guy is begging, like, come on, please don't kill me. Please get off me. I cannot breathe. You hear him just begging for his life. And that cop is looking dead as shit, just doesn't give a fuck. The bystanders are filming him saying, bro, get off him. And how fucking, dude,
one cop in front of him too isn't turning around to even see what's going on. That like surprises me.
And when I think about situations like that, I think like, man, if I was there, I would fucking tackle that cop. But would you really? Because you might get shot or you might go to jail or what. There's so much, these people are watching this poor man die and they want nothing more than to fucking help. And there's nothing they can do because they're surrounded by police officers. It's a horrible situation. And as much as I have talked about these issues in the past, and not on this podcast and not even really on TikTok, but on Facebook over the years, there are some situations where I'm like, look, the cops have a very tough job. And if you're fighting the cops, things can escalate, and the cops are not perfect, but they also have a very tough job to do. But this one looks like a cut and dry. That was totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
That was just straight up murder, heartlessness, just awful.
So I was on Reddit and they were someone asked a question to like ask Reddit about it to the cops, and someone from Minneapolis who like is either a lawyer or something, or a police officer, ex-police officer, he was saying that you do not learn that.
No.
That is not something that you learn when you were a police officer. This guy just put his knee on his neck and held him there.
That's not, that is not
completely wrong.
I've had to choke people out before where fights have started, and I've had to like put people in chokeholds to stop them from punching my friend or escalating the fight, because people get drunk, and I'm a big dude, and I feel like it's on me to step in sometimes because I know how to kind of put somebody in a chokehold and put them out. And there's been times where I put a guy in a chokehold and I know he's going to go to sleep. Yeah. You know he's going to fall asleep, and you have to be aware. And like his friends are like coming at me, and I have to like hold them off while holding this guy. And still in my brain, I'm thinking, I don't want this guy to die. He went limp, drop him.
Yeah.
And then I have to deal with these other guys. And I'm not a trained police officer. I'm barely even a trained fighter. I'm a big dude, and I know basic defense moves if something starts escalating, and I have to step in to save somebody from getting knocked unconscious, because I don't want to see somebody die in front of me. And even I know, like, I've been holding this guy for 30 seconds. Yeah, he's going to pass out, and he's going to get brain dead, and I just drop him on the ground, and he wakes up, and he's fine.
Yeah.
But he realizes, okay, don't fuck with it. This fucking cop knows that. He's trained on chokeholds, and he's not subduing that man. He's putting it on his neck, on his artery, while this guy is begging. And it was 9 minutes.
Oh, 9?
9 minutes.
I thought it was 7. I thought
that's what I heard too. But I heard one of the lawyers. Again, there's so many. You never know all the information. There's so many conflicting things all the time. But either way, 7 minutes, 9 minutes.
Yeah,
it takes 30 seconds to put somebody unconscious max.
Yeah.
And if you hold them in that position for a minute or two, they can get brain dead. Like it doesn't take much. You're cutting off the blood supply to the fucking brain.
Yeah.
And this cop is literally just sitting there while his buddies and people on the street are filming him saying, "Are you really going to kill him right now?" And he's just like looking at them like, "I don't give a fuck." And I don't know this guy. I don't know the cop. It just fucking feels gross. It feels awful. It feels evil. I don't know, man. And the thing is, again, I'm thinking that cop is this horrible racist. There was this picture that came out, but it turns out it's somebody else. There's so much propaganda, you can't know what's true.
That wasn't him?
I guess not. That's what I saw. I don't know. But so I don't want to put out false information. However, when I watched the security camera footage from the building, it wasn't that cop who originally arrested him. It was 2 other cops who arrested him. So I don't even know what happened when they crossed him the street. How it ended up with this other cop who's kneeling on his neck. And so I'm thinking, like, is this cop somehow forced to do this because of another cop told him to, and he doesn't know what to do, and it's like his first day? I don't know. You don't know. Like, true. And everybody is just going to look at that guy and say, you are this evil racist, and he might be. And either way, I don't have a lot of sympathy for him. But the thing is, you just don't know, because they're under pressure of like, they're like in this fucking club where like I got to do what my boss tells me to, or what my partner tells me to, and I don't know what's going on. This is my first day, and he's gonna get the hate of the world. He's gonna get all the murder charge, but from what it seemed like, he wasn't even the one who originally arrested the cop or the guy. Weird. So I don't know what happened, but it doesn't matter. I know enough to know this guy did not deserve to die.
Yes,
especially like that. That was fucking awful.
Yeah.
That's
so sad.
So fucking crazy. Yeah. And a lot of people bring it up and compare it to God, I blanked on his name mostly because I'm drinking wine. My name recall always goes away. Eric Gardner. Eric Gardner case happened a few years ago where he was choked by the police, and that was the hands up, not hands up, don't shoot, but I can't breathe. And this guy is eerily reminiscent because his last words were, "I cannot breathe." Yeah. Right? Eric Gardner's situation was also totally unjustified, but he was a big dude and the cops were arresting him. He was not complying, and the cops were doing anything they could to get him down on the ground and get him subdued. And he died, I think, from a heart attack and probably from being suffocated while they weren't trying to kill him. They were trying to bring him down. Again, not justifying it. Yeah. But this one was even way worse, because this one, the guy was in handcuffs and he was already on the ground. He was not fighting. They weren't trying to get him down. This was a straight up, there's no need for this. This isn't like he's a fat dude and had a heart attack because he's out of shape.
Yeah.
You straight up put your knee on his fucking neck for 7 minutes, 9 minutes, whatever. Yeah, so the comparison, I think, is justified, but also this is way worse than Eric Gardner. This one is much more justified for outrage, as far as I can see. And I don't know what's going on with that, because, I see there's a lot of protests and there's police doing tear gas and all kinds of things. And it's, this type of shit keeps happening. It's going to create it already is created such a divisive political climate in America. And it sucks. It sucks for everybody. It sucks for police who have a very tough job. It sucks for the black community. It sucks for Americans. It sucks for white people. It sucks more for black people. Of course, I understand the pain that they're feeling, but it sucks for everybody, because everybody feels like they have to pick a side and they have to virtue signal and they have to say, because we all agree that this is awful. This should never have happened. Yes. Nobody, there's probably some fucking assholes who think that's justified. Fuck those people. Yeah. But I am still understanding of different sides of things. I can still have opinions about other situations and understanding, like, you don't fight the cops and stand up for the cops in some ways, as much as I have problems with the police and I don't like when the police fuck with me. But this just seems like a cut and dry. It was not a violent crime. He was already under arrest. He was begging them not to. Yeah. They were surrounded by other cops. There was no reason for this. I know. It's fucking awful. So I'm watching closely to see what happens, and a couple more of these happen. It could be this one. Who knows which one? Where a whole fucking war starts. A whole thing pops off in America, and it's not good. It's just not good for anybody, and it sucks. So sorry to your family out there, George Floyd, and I wish more cops would come out and say, fuck this. I know, fuck like, these we people. Are not these fuck cops. These cops, yeah. And the police, it's on the police to stand up against these bad cops.
And weed out. They need retraining. Everyone needs to go get retrained or some shit. And then if you do fuck up, you are held responsible, because we just had a training last month. You should not do this. Or some type of shit.
Hold that thought. That's a bad note to stop on, but we have to do another commercial break. So we'll be right back after this break. And we're back from that horribly sad break right there. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if, what are your opinions on all this? Have you been following all these situations? Because you're not as politically, you're not following the news all the time. I'm sure you see the clips of this on Facebook and YouTube.
I saw a few of my friends posting it on their stories and everything, and Facebook. But then I watched the video with you. Yeah. And it was that, I was holding you as we were watching this, and I just felt very I kind of got off a little bit, because I was getting very
not got off like that. She doesn't mean that. No. Okay. She does get turned on by serial killer documentaries sometimes. That's always that's different. We're watching some horrible murder scene and she just starts getting turned on and starts making out with me. That's not what she meant by getting off.
No, just not touching you anymore, and because I'm getting very I had the word for it before you interrupted my thoughts, but it's fine. But very uncomfortable. Yeah. Because this whole situation was it was extremely intense to watch that. You're just watching this guy die for no fucking reason. He's not resisting, and he has his hands behind his fucking back.
And just begging, man.
Yes.
That's so fucking awful.
What are you doing? And then just the cop standing in front and not even looking to see what his partner's doing.
Not just be
get him off.
All he has to do is say, "Let me just take my knee off his neck real fast." Yes. You don't have that thought process.
Put it on his back if you need to have it somewhere. What the fuck? He's not gonna be able to get up. It's gonna be awkward as fuck if your hands are behind your back to be able to get up. you just standing there, you'll be able to put him back down. What is going on here?
I hope they release more video because it's clear that there was another cop next to him. It seemed that way when I'm watching the video.
Yeah.
Somebody's doing something with him. I want to see how it ended up getting on the ground. I'm sure all this is going to come out. I mean, they got body cam footage. They got to release that somehow. I'm sure other people have footage. The lawyers are saying lots of people are sending in footage. So
yeah.
But it seems the police had given reports saying clearly as soon as they tried to start the arrest, he was resisting arrest. And that restaurant owner released the video and said, that ain't true.
Yes.
So,
good.
Yeah, good. And this is what we need. This is why I think it's such a great thing.
Stop the cover up.
Yeah, fuck
Stop
that.
the fucking cover up.
This is why it's a good thing to film the police. It's a good thing that the police are wearing body cams.
Yes.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it seems it has to be police themselves who stand up against this.
Yeah.
And when these things happen, they come out in numbers and don't just protect their own, but
that's such a hard thing. I know they are such like a fraternity.
Well, that's just life in general. It's like, okay, you go to like, I'm a dude. I've been in situations where you're at a bar and somebody tries to fight your friend and what you don't ask questions about is my friend right or wrong. All you care about is I'm on my friend's side. I'm picking my friend. It's a war, right? And that's how people work. They're tribal. And a police is a tribe just like anything else. And they do have a very dangerous job where they are in risk of their life every single day. I don't disrespect that. I'm very understanding of that because I've told you many times and I've shown you videos. I subscribe to these police videos on YouTube where you see body cam footage of shootings. And it's not these ones that make the news. It's everyday situations where a police officer is just trying to do his job and gets into a life and death shootout and he shoots and has to kill this person. And it is not pretty and it is not fun and they're not trying to do it. And it has nothing to do with a race about black versus white. It's about life versus death. And these cops are trained to understand that their life is at risk at every single traffic stop that they make. And I understand that. I do. But they are also very much at fault in a lot of escalated situations. And they overstep their boundaries and they are power hungry and they're young guys who are probably filled with testosterone and are not making a bunch of money and have to deal with a bunch of bullshit and who knows what kind of family problems they got at home. And they're just, they're working a fucking job and they're angry. And it's like, how do you root this out? Because you do need to protect your friends as a police officer and you need to understand that like these are life and death situations, but this was not one of those.
And talking about like the power hungry and like the control or whatever that they have and like being young guys kind of, or just like the power thing. When I got pulled over leaving the beach with my friend that one time coming home and he wanted to give me a sobriety test. And I was coming home from the beach, midnight, had my bikini top on and some shorts, and I had to take a few sobriety tests, and like 3-4 more cars showed up, and it was just like, y'all are just here to like watch the fucking show. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not starting like a ruckus or anything, and like, what are you doing here? Why are there so many cops here right now?
That's even creepier.
And then they were like, wouldn't let me go home because he kept on saying like, I don't believe that you're sober. I need to wait to do more tests or like something like that. Oh, I need to get a breathalyzer here. Then I like waited 20 minutes for some breathalyzer to come. And like, I was like, can I?
We're going to, like, I understand a lot of.
And I was fine. I passed and
that's
but
good.
He also still wouldn't let me drive my car to leave. I had to like Uber my other friend to come get me.
And that's the thing is.
And drive us home.
And I've been in this situation too. I've been arrested many times. And I've been in many situations where cops have fucked with me. And it is quite the hit to my pride. And this feeling of like, fuck you, dude. I know you're just fucking with me. And there's nothing I can do. And I get that anger that a black man must feel knowing the political climate and knowing the racial undertones of all that. I get that fucking feeling. I can empathize with that. And it's such a difficult situation where like I can see both sides of some of these issues and I can see from my own point of view how I would feel if I was in that position because I've been in that position. I just don't get to say it's because of race. It's just because of a power dynamic. But also you have no choice. You have to comply. You have to. You can't fight them there on the street and say, I'm standing up to this right now, because they do have the power. They have the power over life and death over you. And it's just fucking shitty. It's so like, yeah, this does need to be something that's talked about, and it's being talked about. And these issues are coming up even more and more. And there's just so many of that. And that's, I guess, where I stand on these, because if you go back on some of my political issues, on some of these ones that have happened in the past, is I am vocal about, like, guys, this is not somebody that we should, like, as with the Black Lives Matter movement, a lot of them are situations where, like, guys, this guy was a bad dude and he was fighting the cops. And should the cops have shot him or not? No, it shouldn't have escalated to that. But also, it's not that cut and dry where he's a victim, like the guy who gets shot is a victim. But these are, right? Yeah. And so I've always been of the opinion of, like, if you're going to show me these things and make this big movement, focus on the ones like this, the ones where there is no excuse. Don't find the one where this guy just robbed a gas station and he's running from the cops and the cops are trying to arrest him, and then he's punching them in the face and grabbing it for his gun, and then they shoot him and being like, oh, why didn't you tase him? It's like, this is a violent criminal. You don't know what this guy's going to do if he knocks you out. He's going to grab your gun and shoot you because he's trying to, like, that's what police have to do. Unfortunately, I think that's justified from the police, even though you wish there was a better way. This one is the one that the movement should be focused on.
For sure.
Any situation like this.
Yes.
But again, it's so tricky because these things are so politicized that until I see all the footage, it's like I'm thinking there's a backstory, and then I see the security cam footage and I'm like, oh no, it's cut and dry. They had him under control. But then you don't see what happens when they take him down the street. What if somehow he got out of his handcuffs and was fighting? I'm not saying that's happened, but I'm just like, we don't know. It's so hard to tell. Nobody has the whole story. And a lot of times nobody does. We all just make these rash public opinions, and we're not on the jury. We're not seeing all the evidence of the case. We're just seeing the headlines, and they're coming from the left or they're coming from the right, and every side is trying to spin it their way for their political reason. And I don't believe any of them. I don't believe it. I believe what my gut tells me and what I see with my own eyes. And what I saw and what my gut told me was this was fucking awful. So it does suck. Going back to like police power, and like especially with the women, there was this whole case, because I watch all these police things, especially like the murder interrogations and things. There was a famous case a few years ago. Some of you guys might have heard of it, about Daniel Holtzclaw. It's a crazy story. I got to show you some of these. It's fucking awful. It's such sweet justice. But even that, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories that he was framed. But he was a police officer, and he was pulling women over in the middle of the night, turning his lights off, turning off his computer, pretending like he was off duty, forcing them to blow him.
Oh shit! So they wouldn't get arrested?
So they wouldn't get arrested. He was targeting poor black women and prostitutes and just underprivileged people, forcing them to blow him. And there's police interrogation where it finally came up. Some woman finally reported it. And then the internal investigations calls him into one of the interrogation rooms. This guy's a police officer who should know, shut the fuck up and get a lawyer. And he's thinking, I can talk my way out of this. And he's sitting down, and you can watch the whole interrogation where they're just like pretending to be buddies with him. Like, hey,
sometimes I do that too.
you know how it is. Yeah, they're doing that. They're just like, you know. And he's just like, no, I would never do that. And
once or twice.
And you can find the whole thing. Look it up on YouTube. It's crazy. You can find the whole interrogation. And then it turns out he did this to like dozens of women.
Oh my God.
And they took him to court.
So he admitted it?
No. It was clear he was lying, and they got a lot of evidence and a lot of things of him saying that contradicted things. But they had all kinds of DNA swabs of his semen inside of them. I mean, it's pretty fucking cut and dry. And then he goes to court and he gets convicted, and the jury convicts him. And he goes to the sentencing, and he's this big, like Asian kind of like a linebacker looking dude who was like, all American, he's Asian, but he's American, you know, and he's got this like, I guess he was like a failed football star in college or something. And, everybody thinks like he's a cop, he's going to get off and everything's going to be fine. They come back guilty, and then they do the sentencing, and he gets, for every count, it was like 30 something years back to back to back. Ended up being like 250 years in like his life is
done.
over,
Yeah.
and you just see him.
Yeah.
Oh God, he's like begging, like, please don't do this to me.
They
it's like,
think
bro,
they're just above the law.
yeah, dude, yes. And so,
So fucked up.
and that is like the sweet justice of.
Yes.
But again, it's like, you don't know, because there's a lot of conspiracy theories. Like, it could be framed. I'm not on the jury. I don't have all the evidence, but it seems the way I saw it, I saw his interrogation.
If they have his DNA, it's like,
I know. I always like to look at things from different angles. I don't just jump on, it's this or that. I just try to use my brain and think rationally.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not on the fucking, as political as I am, I'm not on one side or the other.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle. And I like to think about things outside of race and prejudice, but actually think about what makes sense. And it does seem to me, my gut was, you know, watching his interrogation, is this dude's guilty as fuck?
Yeah.
And just seeing how he broke down, it just seemed like a kid who got in trouble for the first time in his life. And he's just like, not me. And you know, that motherfucker is having the worst life ever in jail, because not only is he a cop and a rapist, he's a cop rapist who's in jail with a bunch of people who he's put in jail. And he was raping poor black women.
Yeah.
And he's in jail.
You're fucked.
For life.
Literally.
Yes. That motherfucker. And he knew it. And you can just see it crumble. So, you know, there is more and more justice that's coming out with cases like this. But it comes through people.
Was that on the news?
Yeah, it was a big case. It was a big
okay.
case. And you can see it all on YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, and it reminds me of that when you're talking about these cops who are pulling you over and just trying to fucking sexualize you.
I know.
And it's like, yeah, dude.
I was like, I didn't even bring a shirt. I can't even like put something on right now.
Yeah. And you're so exposed, and you're terrified of going to jail.
Yeah.
And you're going to do anything to get out of jail. Did you blow him? I'm just kidding. She's like, I thought about it.
I mean, if I had to.
I know you were getting turned on earlier, but... No, dude, it sucks. And it's like, I see all these angles, and I have no sympathy for that type of situation. What he did, what the police is fucking with you did. And we obviously saw the other arrests where they were fucking with you. I've been fucked with a lot, and I understand the fucking pain that the black community must feel when they have to deal with this shit.
For sure.
Especially stuff like that. I have no sympathy for that. But I also do watch a lot of police videos, and the police have one of the hardest jobs in the world, and it's life and death. And there are so many times where it is just, if they hesitate, you know how terrifying it must be for a cop to be in a life and death situation where they have to decide in half a second whether to pull the trigger or not pull the trigger. And it's either, I'm going to die if I don't pull this trigger, or if I do pull this trigger, everybody in America is going to call me a racist murderer and hate me, right? And they literally have to think about all of that in the heat of the moment when their life is on the line, and all they want to do is survive and get back to their family. And if you're on the Black Lives Matter side of that, and you can't also empathize with that, then it's hard for me to also care too much about your political opinion. I agree with you completely about this situation and about several of these situations, and I can empathize with that the socioeconomic side of being a poor black guy dealing with the police in America. I can totally get that. But you have to also put yourself in the perspective of a cop, regardless of race. It's black cops, it's Asian cops, it's Mexican cops, it's whatever. And it's white cops. Yeah. And statistically, what's weird is apparently a lot of black people who are shot by police, they're statistically more likely to be shot by a black cop than a white cop.
Yeah, that's
interesting. And I don't know what that is, if it's just because black cops are more likely to patrol black neighborhoods, or black cops are more on edge because they understand the black community more, or white cops are more hesitant because they don't want to be seen as racist, whatever it is. Yeah. It's just a fucking difficult situation, and it's sad and it's terrible. And I totally agree that the cops are totally overstepping their bounds, and we need to check the police in so many ways. But I also understand the difficult position the police are in, and I totally empathize with the black community being fucked with by the cops and being fearful of being shot by the cops just for a traffic stop. But I also understand that black communities often have a lot of violent crime, and that is what raises their chances of being stopped by the police. And you have to know not to fight the cops. You have to comply as much as it sucks.
That's rough.
It's just, there's so many moving parts to this, and everybody just digs in and says, and it becomes this racial thing of, if you don't agree with me, it's because you hate black people and you're racist. And then other white people just jump on the side of, well, I don't want to sound racist. So it's just, no matter what, the cops are bastards. And that's this trend on TikTok, ACAB, all cops are bastards.
Oh God.
It's like, that is not helping anything.
Sucks,
That's not helping anything.
Yeah.
But I get it.
Definitely
But
good
yet
cops
I
out
get
there,
it.
and like, I would be if I was a cop right now, I'd be fucking terrified.
If I was a cop, I would quit.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I would do.
fucking quit too. I'd be terrified.
That's what we should do. Let's convince all police officers to quit.
Yeah.
Let's all buy our own guns and police ourselves and have neighborhood watches. Well, that didn't go well either. That's how the Trayvon Martin thing happened. It was a neighborhood watch guy who saw Trayvon Martin walking through the neighborhood. That was in Florida.
Yeah.
That's what started this whole thing years ago. Mm-hmm. And he went and tried to stop the guy himself. So that doesn't go well either. Yeah. It's just all, the thing's fucked up, but...
I know we were watching one of the videos, and it was of a white police officer talking to a black guy, or kind of like yelling at him, like, I don't want to shoot you. I don't want to shoot you. Like, do not make me shoot you.
Yeah.
Like, it was like he was saying that for like 5-10 minutes. Like, guys, I will need to quit.
If you want to understand, it's important to understand the police side of things, and not like from a political point of view, but from just watch what the police, there's a YouTube video, a channel called Police Activity on YouTube. Go watch this video, and literally there's hundreds of videos of just body cam footage of police shootings that you've never heard about. They're not racially motivated. They're not unjustified. They're just situations that are life and death situations, and the police have to shoot these people. And they don't want to do it. Yeah. They are terrified. They're begging, please don't make me, please. And the guys will rush them, suicide by cop, hoping that they're going to kill them.
Because they have a gun in their hand, or like all this shit.
And they pull out the gun, and it's white, and it's black, and it's Mexican. And some of them escalate because the cop fucked up. And some of them are completely outside of the cop's control. And he was just, the fucking guy, the cop breaks down after and is just sobbing like a little girl because he just fucking killed somebody. And he doesn't even want to. Like, literally, it's sad.
No, I know.
It's sad to see. It's not like a fucking grown man like, oh, I'm just emoting. It's they can't even control the pain that they feel, the empathy that they feel for not wanting to hurt this person. Yeah. But they had no choice. And you have to understand that. You have to see both sides of that. And you can see so much video evidence of it on YouTube, but we only see these politicized events on CNN and Fox News, where it's always, they don't show you the white guys that are getting shot by cops through the same situations. They highlight the black men, the ones that they want, so that way it can fit their narrative. And that's the fucking news media is the problem. And yes, the police have a lot of systemic problems that we definitely need to discuss.
For sure.
But the news media is the one riling people up to get fucking ratings, to get views, to fit their political narrative. It's gross, man. So just go watch this channel. Watch every video on this channel and tell me that you can't understand where the police are coming from in some of these situations. But not this one. No excuse for this one.
No.
It's just, it sucks, dude. And I don't have the answers, but I empathize with all sides. And I'm sorry for George and the black community. I understand the pain that you guys are feeling, and that sucks. But I'm not Mr. White savior, just virtue signal. Oh, I'm not like, I'm just saying you guys are right on this one. As far as I could tell, you guys are justified to feel something. And I understand, man. It sucks. There's nothing I can do. I'm just a dude talking, I'm just a dude. But I definitely stay out of making jokes about this one, because it affected me too. It feels
There was
bad.
one of the shows that I was watching on Amazon Prime, or a movie, and they were trying to like change this woman's appearance. She was a late night talk show host, the only woman, and she like had to kind of change up her things. And she did a segment where she was like the white savior, where she would like go to like black people and be like, they were like, she was like, what is your problem? He's like, I can never get a cab or whatever. And she's like, okay, like I'm gonna get you a cab. And so she gets a cab, and he's like, I don't need a cab right now. And she's like, well, it doesn't matter.
It's demeaning.
I'm a white
it's
savior.
Like pandering.
Here's your cab.
I'm here to solve racism for the black people. And it's like, like, I don't want to be one of those people.
No,
I think of everybody as equals. I don't judge in that level at all. But politics can just get crazy when you make it political. On that note, we got to take another commercial break, and we'll be back with our last and final segment.
Oh, we're doing the 4?
We do 4. We just don't do 5.
Oh,
that was our new rule.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it a little more.
All right. We'll be right back. Erin always sells herself short. She's like, I don't know what to talk about. What are we talking about this time? Erin, we never know what we're talking about. We did not know we were going to talk about this.
No.
I mean, I didn't know. We never know what we're going to talk about.
I don't know. Yeah.
And now I am thinking about this because it just gets my brain. When you get on a topic, it gets your brain moving on that. But
yeah,
you know, I don't have enough more to say on it. It's just, these types of things are just, whatever.
Yeah. Because we're going to talk about cops again. Like, I feel like we talked about the last times.
No, we got to definitely change the subject to something a little more lighthearted.
My first, so I recently thought about this. My first encounter at a sex shop.
Okay. This is quite the tangent.
Very tangent.
I like it.
And I just brought it up. It was with one of my best friends. We were super drunk one night drinking. You had just moved out of town. I'm alone.
She needs to
hook up with people.
She needs to fill the void inside her vagina that I left, that giant hole that I just left.
Yep.
That only a sex toy could fill.
Yes.
Yes.
So
I'm flattered.
We went to the Todd 15 or 30 minutes before this shop closed. And we're looking at all the dildos and vibrators and stuff like that. I've been in there before, but never seriously to actually find something. And so they have some samples where you can kind of play with not play with the toys, but just.
I like
I'm
this
take
one.
This to the back.
There's sanitizer down there. Just disinfect it when you're done.
I know. I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, not really.
Okay.
No, but
slut
to try it out. But anyways, I turned on this one and it was going around like this, fucking going in a whole circle. It was going around in a circle very fast, and I was pushing all the buttons
what
trying to
get
it to stop. I don't know.
It's supposed to smack you.
Well, it's inside of you, and I guess it's
so it's not that serious. It's a
no, it's not.
You're making it like a
helicopter.
Take your shirt off, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter.
Maybe it's a little, but it seemed like it was going like this. First time ever
sometimes.
seeing it.
I like to get the different angles.
Oh my gosh. So it's going like this. I'm hitting the buttons, trying to turn it off. It's just going even crazier, vibrating and all this shit. I don't even know. So we're laughing hysterically, not knowing how to turn this off. We go to the guy, and he finally turns it off for us, and he has this face of do you belong here?
Is this your first time?
I know. Do you need some help? I can show you some things.
He wants to give you the hands-on tutorial.
I mean, hey, just kidding.
Does he call up his buddies too, like all the cops? Hey guys, come watch this.
I know. Assistance in aisle 5.
No.
But so yeah, then they called on the intercom or some shit or told us you have 5 minutes left. I'm fuck. So I guess I just grab one. I pay for it. It's $55. Yeah. Don't
Worth
know.
it?
Wake up. No, I wake up in the morning and it's this dildo with the clip part is a little hummingbird and its little beak.
It's shaped like a hummingbird?
Yeah.
You didn't know that?
It's a fucking hummingbird. No, I just grabbed one because I was just I just need one.
So it's not
care.
Because it's the rabbit is the main. Everybody loves the rabbit.
Great. Yeah,
and this is the hummingbird.
No,
so it's a zoo. It's a zoo of dildos for sluts.
The rabbit doesn't actually look like a rabbit.
It's guys, we're gonna take you on our little safari of sluttiness. Yeah. It's a little slut safari.
Yeah, I need to get the giraffe next.
Yeah.
Can just
you need that long neck. No.
No.
you get the lion to chomp down.
Yeah.
She's getting turned on again.
Commercial break.
All this talk of
But it was just
murder
awful,
and
I can't believe I spent $50 fucking on it, and I never used it. I tried.
You
and
do
I was
that
just
a lot,
like, this
Erin.
is lame as fuck.
You buy things and then you.
Excuse me?
You bought that vape one time and you never
What
even
vape?
It cost like a ton and you were like never even had the cartridges for it.
No.
And you don't even smoke either. So I was like, why are you wasting money on this?
I bought the cartridges, but then I had to buy the vape for it, and it was like way more because I spent like $30 or something on the cartridges, and it was like $50 for the
just
thing
while
with
you're
it.
drunk.
And I was
for
like,
no reason.
fuck, never mind.
No.
I gave it to a friend.
Well,
so
that's good.
It went
Pay it forward.
to a good cause.
Yeah.
It was cucumber. It seemed very refreshing. So.
And bad for your lungs, and you would get coronavirus because the young people who are dying of coronavirus are linked to vaping.
Vapors. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's a lung disease.
Yeah.
And vaping is not good.
Vaping
Smoking's not good, but people are like, oh, I just vape. And it's like, that's not good either.
I know. Like, what is in that?
Yeah. People are dumb.
Yeah.
People love to be unhealthy and say, not me. And I do it too. I mean, I definitely have bad habits, but I definitely moderate my bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I go off the rails sometimes.
Yeah.
I know drinking's not good for me. And I always say, like, I don't want to drink as much. And I've been controlling it a lot better.
Yeah.
Throwback to one of our earlier episodes when we had talked about this, and I was like, I want to cut it down. I think I'm doing a lot better with it.
You're good, yeah. You drank a bunch of water after the party. Like, you got a good buzz and everything. And then you,
I drink water
were very
a lot.
responsible, yeah. That party I was responsible. The beach I was not responsible.
Well, I had to step in sometimes. I wish you would respect me a little more. Respect my authority. Because I'm not doing it out of controlling. I'm doing it out of love and understanding.
I know.
And yet in the moment, the thing is, it's so hard when you feel so drunk and happy because you just are like, I feel great now.
Some more will make me feel good.
And it's like, and I caught you and I was like, Erin, do you feel good right now? And you're like, I feel great. And I was like, then why fuck it up with a shot?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that going to make you feel better?
I know.
You know?
It's like, I just need to be given like a water.
Yeah.
If
I
someone
know.
just
And
gives
that's
me
what
a
I
water,
did is
I'm
I came
fucking
and I
good.
was like, here, and I got a water and I gave it to you. Because I agree sometimes, especially in like a social party, a bar, a club, the beach, whatever, house party.
Yeah.
You just need something in your hand
And
to
a lot
feel
of
like you're
times,
drinking.
I'm just very thirsty. I'm a thirsty person, especially when I drink alcohol.
Yeah, she is. Super thirsty.
That dehydrates
Fucking
you.
thirst traps this one sets.
So then I just keep on sipping on it to like cleanse my palate, but like wet my chomps. And it's like
not cleanse my palate.
chomps.
Wet my chomps. It's like you just traded out one fucking weird phrase for another. I just wanted to
Lick my smacker.
I just wanted to drip my tonsils. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Beat a dead, not to beat a dead horse
I know,
or
today
anything.
you used it. She's like, she comes in, she's like, hey, Nick, not to beat a dead horse. And I was like, what? And she's like, I just wanted to use that phrase. But could you recycle more?
I know. It's like the trash can gets really full if you don't throw the recycling away.
I don't believe in recycling because it's actually worse for the environment.
Cool. I don't care about the environment.
See, look,
I
you're
just
like
want
one of these
you to throw my
you know how in the last segment
recycling bin.
I was talking about how I don't want to be one of these people who just virtue signals to pretend like I'm doing the good thing. I'll be honest, even if it sounds bad.
Yeah.
You want to help the environment? Recycling is not helping the environment.
No, I do want to help
it. It's often worse for the environment.
But also, I don't want to throw out my trash can.
Nobody wants to have that discussion because they just want to pat themselves on the back
and it is awful.
and say, "Oh, I put this in this bin instead of that bin. I saved the planet." And it's like you actually just harmed the planet.
Because where does our recycling go?
It goes in a landfill now.
I know, because China isn't taking it. China's not taking it anymore.
But it used to, and even then. How do you think it gets to China? On a big ass giant ship that's pumping more CO2 into the atmosphere than all the cars combined.
All of our cargo goes.
Yeah, shipping is bad. So shouldn't you?
So we should.
I'm just saying there's a lot of other reasons why recycling's bad. My point, but now it's not even going to China because they refuse to accept it.
Yeah.
It's just sitting here in a landfill or just getting thrown out like everything else. But it just takes a lot more energy on everybody's part to do that. The transportation,
it's all getting transported the same way. My trash cans are overfilled.
My point is,
it's like,
okay, whatever.
If I have two
there's a lot of
cans,
reasons.
it's better.
But still, if they're taking it anyways, then they can separate it. They know where it's going, and they can figure out the business plan on it. My point is, you're not helping.
Who's
separating
it?
Every place is different. Every city and local ordinance
has their own. No, I know, but who's separating it? People. Yeah. People have to do that job.
Yes.
People have to sit there.
You know how many people recycle things that can't be recycled and then they have to throw the whole batch out anyways?
I know.
Like that's what it doesn't help anything. I
know.
It doesn't help anything.
It's like I don't want to go through like your garbage.
Okay, but that's their job and they can create efficient robots to do that. The point is,
how are they gonna? I guess they can see plastic or something.
Well, they're trying to solve that, but it is a hard problem to solve. Yeah. My point is, this idea that you just put it in this bin and you pat yourself on the back, that is not helping the world. You think it is because you've been told that it is. Mm-hmm. It's reduce, reuse, recycle. Yes. There's a reason recycle is the last one because reducing and reusing is what helps the environment much more. I really want to get some veggie
bags so I don't have to keep on like getting like the plastics and stuff. Yeah. A lot of the times if I don't need the plastic, like I won't get it. It depends what I'm actually getting. No. But I usually just put it in my cart because I'm like, fuck it, I have to wash it anyways. It doesn't matter. Because I don't have bags. Yeah.
Either way, not to beat a dead horse, but recycling
fucking recycle
does not help the environment.
I have a tiny trash can, so
this is okay, that's the reason. At least use the reason and say, listen, Nick, if you just didn't put this one beer bottle in the trash, I would have all this extra room.
And the OJ container.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two things.
Put it in the know how much I would be able to stack on top of that if those two.
We're
things
having a couples fight right now on quality. This was supposed to be quality time.
It is quality time. Only way I can tell you about the recycling. Because before you were like, let's not talk about this now. I was like,
Well, I was about to do a podcast. By the way, guys, I was on a TikToker's podcast. Somebody asked me to be on their podcast. He's a big TikToker. I'm a big TikToker, let's be honest, but he has more followers than me.
Which is really fucking cool.
Not that I'm jealous, but so today I was on a podcast and I'm literally about to hop onto this podcast on a Zoom call. And then Erin's coming in like, hey, not to beat a dead horse, but let me nag you real fast about where you put and it's like, Erin, can we talk about this later? Get out of here. I've already talked to you
so many times about the recycling.
Get out of here.
I can't.
Skedaddle. It's such an Erin move. It's like, hey, I know you're jumping on a call in 35 seconds, but now is the time I want to tell you about my.
It's because I was putting trash away. I was putting in trash, and I was just like, God damn,
guys, don't get in a relationship. Life is much better when you're single.
Totally.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it is kind of great, but also I think this is kind of great.
Yeah, there's pros and cons. There definitely is. So the podcast went good. Guys, subscribe. Since you listen to our podcast, especially a lot of you guys are following on TikTok, I'm going to give a shout out to Husky Muscles on TikTok. Yeah. Everybody go follow Husky Muscles. And he has a podcast, which is also on Spotify, called The Husky Muscles Show. You guys should go subscribe to that episode, to his podcast, and watch the episode of me, or listen. I don't think it's a video podcast because we didn't film it.
Yeah.
Go listen to that episode. It was a short, quick episode. I don't really even know what I said or what we talked about. At the end of it, he was like, so Nick, is there anything, after it stopped recording, he was like, is there anything you want me to cut out? And I'm like, that's not how I work. I don't know. Whatever I said, it's out there. But I don't know. It was a short. He
was asking you like, there were some things that you said.
Maybe.
Are you sure you want to keep that?
I mean, if you're asking me to be on your podcast after watching my TikToks, you should be assuming that I'm going to say some things. But no, he seemed to be like, you actually seem like a pretty cool, open-minded or something cool dude, chill dude or whatever. Yeah, because I'm different than I am on my content.
Yeah.
Either way, shout out to Husky Muscles. Thanks for having me on your podcast. And one day I will have you on my podcast, not this one, but I'm creating multiple podcasts. And this is just Erin's podcast. I got to give her something.
Couples on here and stuff.
Yeah, relationship type stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do my own podcast, especially to talk about my own shit.
Do you know when that one's coming out? Did he kind of give you an idea?
Yeah,
of the turnover time?
I'm sure it's within a couple days.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. I'll definitely let you guys know when it is, but give him a shout out. But yes, we're gearing up to have guests on this podcast.
Once we get some mics.
We have the person who invited us to the people who invited us to the house party this weekend, which was a dope party.
Yeah.
They are in a bit of a, what do you call it? A menage a trois relationship. Polyamorous. It's a guy with 2 girls.
Yeah.
And always seems to be surrounded by other girls. So right away, I'm a friend of this guy. I'm like, this is my type of dude. And he really wants to be on the podcast. So shout out to you, guy and girls, Adam and Ambrel.
And Danielle.
And we're gonna get more microphones, and he really wants to come on and talk about the lifestyle of having 2 girlfriends at once, which I have a lot of questions about.
I have so many questions.
But we need more microphones. But we can't have 5 people on a pod. Like, I don't even have the room or the microphones or the way to film that.
Fit here.
I mean, I guess. I think girls, Erin, I'm just gonna have to kick you off and talk about it.
That's rude what I think. As fuck.
Well, I'm the host of the show. No, we'll figure it out. But so
that's fine.
I'm going to be expanding podcast. I have my own shows that I want to do, and eventually I want to have guests on my show. So hopefully one day, Husky Muscles, thanks for having me on your podcast. I will invite you to be on my podcast, and everybody here watching too. Also, I have that Instagram channel, 2 Cool Stools, RIP 2 Cool Stools, because I pretty much abandoned that channel since I started blowing up on TikTok for good reason. I got to go where
for sure,
you got to water the tree that's planting the money, That makes no sense, but you get my point. Look, the wine's kicking in. Water it where the grass grows. I don't know. There's a phrase there. There's some famous phrase. Yeah. Either way.
I only know beat a dead horse.
Yeah, that was the phrase you wanted. But I love having guests on my show, and I'm gearing up to have a podcast where I can have in fact, I filmed the episodes because I was doing the podcast Nick and a Chick.
Yeah.
I thought that would be a great show, and I think it still will be because, we have all these crazy girlfriends, and I have this weird just dynamic with so many of these chicks anyways.
Yeah.
But I hadn't started a channel. I had no place to put them, and I don't want to just start something that I can't keep going.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just hold on to these. But I have those footage, so I'll probably put those on my own YouTube
podcast
channel, and then maybe keep that going. But I won't do Nick and a Chick as its own thing. I'll just do the Nick Foster podcast or whatever, something like that. So I want to start having more guests. So hopefully I can invite some of the TikTokers. And we were also talking earlier I want to do a meetup soon, you know? And other big TikTokers are doing a meetup, but I kind of want to do my own that I could kind of throw. Because, I'm such this social person, and I can really, introduce people and make things run in that way. But I have no clue all the ins and outs of doing a live event, especially when you're selling tickets or having thousands of people, at least hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
But I would love to have a meetup and somewhere here on the beach. I know,
but it's beach. It's
probably.
I was thinking more where do you even host that?
Yeah, get some hotels or get the beach or do a Busch Gardens thing
beach
or
is
something.
Really good. Yeah,
but at least at the beach, you can have a ton of people. People can walk around. People can do their own thing. They can even book their own hotels. I don't know. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
If any event planners out there and other things. There's so many things I'm working on. This is why I need to get this podcast going. And I was starting to make
If you have a niche, DM us.
I need a graphic designer because I'm going to start a merch line soon.
Yeah.
And I need to figure out, I have some ideas of what I want to do, but I really need a good artist. And we know some artists, but I got to figure out what works for both of us.
Yeah.
We know a guy who obviously runs a merch business. So I'm trying to make something work with him. I need to get some type of talent manager or social media manager, not for posting things, but to do a lot of the behind the scenes of making deals that I don't really want to spend my days doing.
Yeah.
But I just feel this sense of I got lightning in a bottle and I want to grow it,
For sure.
And I want to focus on the content and keeping it pure to my audience.
You just need someone to tell you where to go.
Well, I have my own ideas of where to go. It's just I also need to just put somebody on the task.
But
I don't want to be
getting
doing
the
it all.
connections of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. And there are opportunities I feel like I could be leaving on the table. I could leverage this to get into acting. I could leverage this to just get onto other people's shows. I could get news articles written. You know, there's a lot of things that I've studied over the years from other people, from Donald Trump to social media stars like Logan Paul to podcasters like Joe Rogan. I'm watching closely. Joe Rogan just sold his podcast, licensed his podcast for $100 million on Spotify. That is a huge benchmark for what is possible in this podcasting space. So I'm watching that closely, but then I'm also watching the Call Her Daddy podcast, which is a huge podcast owned by Barstool Sports, and how they blew up, but he owns them. Whereas Joe Rogan's completely independent, and there's all this drama, and I'm watching both very closely.
It's crazy how those both happen at the same time too.
Podcasting is big business, and it's right at the same time where Spotify is investing hundreds of millions into the podcast space. Anchor is the app that I use to spread our podcast to Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and then I put it on the YouTubes. But Spotify acquired Anchor for like $500 million because
Spotify bought that?
Yeah, because they want to move into the podcasting space. So they want to become like the Netflix of podcasts. And Netflix pays people big money to put their content on their platform. So this is a space.
Anchor not be putting it to
No,
other
it
channels
still
then?
will. I'm just saying that they understand that
Yeah.
the future of Spotify is podcasts,
Yeah.
not music. I mean, it's both, but podcasts.
Yeah, definitely
And
get
we
into that,
happen to be in a growing podcast right now. So on that note, guys, we're reaching the end of this podcast. So please hit subscribe. Give it a comment and a like. Follow me on TikTok at Nick Foster Jokes. Yet again, that's way too many calls to action. And check out Aaronaceous_21. And we're going to put the link to these delicious cookies. All right. So see this cookie and then go and order it. If you're in the Tampa area. There you go. Oh, yeah.
Lost it.
I can't wait to eat that diabetes. All right, guys. Subscribe to our podcast, and we will be back next week with a new episode. Thanks for hanging out, and RIP George Floyd.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. On that note, we're out of here.
See you.
Peace.